handles the agent, and I think most specifically, like how aggressive does he want to use it? Because, you know,
Yeah.
watching him play on the Sky, like you mentioned, a lot of the flex duelists are using that Sky in an aggressive flash form for initiation. So what does Sick have to offer for the KO?
Yeah, the trend really has been in North American scene to see a lot of the secondary duelists start flexing into Sky or KO. Sky's been the more popular option, I would say, but certainly you have seen some KO out there elsewhere in the region, so not too big of a shocker. So you are going to see Rise looking to step to the plate here. Look for this B attack early in the pistol. They've already found a pick on the Sick. That's going to put a lot of stress now on Dapper.
The knife did come out. You thought for a moment it was going to stall Rise out a little bit further because there's just no way to initiate on in, but able to find the crossing picks, and then Shanks finds one beyond it. Neptune taking away some space through the mid, able to get a regrowth off. That's going to get Shanks nice and healthy for a moment, while Poised able to get the spike planted. So the retake will be now 3v5, and with 10s only on 12 HP, you don't feel great about Sentinels' chances to get in.
No, not at all. This is a very nice barrage from Rise early on at B, getting some nice clean opening picks. No real retaliation from Sentinels. And it's going to be a very tough retake. I can see it being solo on health.
Eric also playing through B main, able to find one. Zom's going to turn to see if he can maybe isolate. Tens is still not really a part of the picture as of yet. This is great from Derek. Just keep backing away. Bait Zoms into a very vulnerable position. Depends, what can you find? Ooh, not much. A lot of damage, but cannot confirm the kill. So, hey, how about this? After the flawless spree from Sentinels on Breeze, Rise is able to at least get one here on the opening pistol.
Indeed, they are. That is nice job there, Shanks. Big hat trick round, and again, just being able to get that opening pick, be able to follow it up nice and decisively. And I'm happy to see this because, look, even though Rise got battered by Sentinels there on Breeze, they are a team that throughout Stage 3's qualification process were impressive, man.
Yeah,
they're able
really
to, you know, pick up some pieces that had kind of been slipping through the cracks from some of the other top 10 teams in the region, like a Shanks, like a Superman, kind of bring them all underneath one roof, you know, figure out the roles, you know, get, you know, Neptune back onto kind of that secondary duelist kind of flex position, with Superman coming in to be the controller and with Poise being there to be the Sentinel, and everything just seems to fit. They seem to be a team that, when they're comfortable, when they're able to kind of get their footing, they are a team that tactically is, you know, pretty sound. So I'm hoping that this is a sign that they'll be able to get off on the right foot here on a sit and make the series competitive.
Here we go.
Like they're going to find a very vulnerable B site here.
Yeah, but this is a sentry turret bait. Big shout to the Obs team for pointing this one out. Dapper's going to wait for the sentry turret to do information, and then boom, boom, able to find one. That's not bad. 1 for 1 is actually exactly what the doctor would have ordered there. So it will be 4v4. Of course, Rise will have full clearance to get onto the B site like you mentioned, but they're still a bit cautious to see maybe there might be somebody else hiding in the corner, so the Aldrin will be spent. And it looks like as they do get clearance, Neptune will plant.
Yeah, smokes out on the back halls and on market positions, so Sentinels having to kind of just wait that out and play back. They do have another shorty on 10s that he could maybe dash in with and try to cause a little bit of a ruckus, but other than that, it's mostly just basic distance here.
Both Neptune, Keeks, Derek also with it, and all the kills are so clean. You want flawless rounds, nearly able to secure a second one here outside of just Poise, going 1 for 1. That's one of those situations that you really don't expect there to be that kind of early shorty play. So honestly speaking, after the 1 for 1 trade, Rise flawless.
Yeah, the only hope there for Sentinels is that somehow Tens gets a 1v1 in V lobby with his shorty, gets that kill, and maybe picks up a weapon, then all of a sudden, you know, you're back in the mix because you're able to kind of multi-prong retake back into B with a little bit of weaponry. But when he goes down, that was pretty much their last chance. Rise able to hold on nicely. Now they're in the bonus. We're seeing the full buyout from Sentinels, and we're going to see a little bit of A lobby control early on here from Rise.
Heavy stack of the Killjoy utility, though, right inside the front door of B main. Sentry turret is down offensively for Rise. Spike still lingering over towards the B area, but 10's mid-map is watching to see if he can maybe find anyone on the cross. He's going to have help, too. That's the big key here for Sentinels.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. They're definitely having like a mid-centric defense here. This is going to allow them for quicker rotations to help reinforce B site, while as well as keeping tabs on any type of mid-round pivoting that Rise tries to make. The only thing they don't really know is what's going on at A lobby. They're having to play a lot more passive there due to, you know, their heavier stack towards middle. Now all of a sudden Aldrin is going to spot that one player at mid, but just the one. Stars start going down on B, so they're going to attack B. There's a heavy defense in place for this, man.
Yeah, there sure is. And oh boy, here comes the full-on flood. No one's going to get through the nanostorms, realistically speaking. Dapper even tallying a kill with his utility, as 2 more fell from behind as 10's crossed on in, and well, all of the hopes of Rise just flooding into the site were just immediately quelled by the fact that you had so much Killjoy utility here.
Not to mention basically 4 defenders in place by the time the take was underway. Just, you know, again, having that very mid-heavy defense early on allowed them to very quickly pivot into a B-side stack. Yeah, they had the vulnerability at A, but they had some Astrosauce there to kind of cover it a bit. They could play for retake if they felt like they needed to. So it wasn't really a gamble, but it was definitely a calculated stack. And winds up being very fruitful for Sentinels here, battling against the bonus of Rise, but now Rise will be onto their own full buy coming into this next round. This will be our first kind of real test for both teams on Ascent to see where things stand. As once again, we do see that Rise are looking for some early emphasis over towards that A lobby to get that orb in play.
And for Rise, you know, again, just kind of looking at their previous results, yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. You mentioned a couple of their losses. They could even find double digits. But with the one thing that we kept mentioning, even in some of those losses, is their offensive half. They've shown good variability and flexibility, but they need to find a way to put Sentinel on the back foot. And while Sig was able to get away, the 0-point knife did come through to make sure that there was no immediate follow-up. So him finding first blood. Zom's there to help Dapper as well. Oh man, it's just anytime that Rise starts to chase ground, Sentinels are so quick to rotate, they take it away there almost instantaneously.
Yeah, even you were seeing Rise kind of feint that they were going to go for the A orb by sending the Sky Flash through and kind of just, you know, now using their mid-smoke that was like a more shallow mid-smoke to kind of use that to get them some catwalk access, start getting towards tree. The problem is that Sick is here, basically gets the intel immediately how many members are on there with this knife, and they're able to kind of just double up with this tree defense and be able just to trade very, very efficiently. You can see that there was never a time Rise were getting a 1v1 in that situation. There was always like a nice little staggered stance from Sentinels ready to play off of one another, making trading very difficult. And they're able to tie this game up very quickly and put Rise onto the upgraded pistols. The one Spectre on Poised.
Scanning ahead.
Similar defensive setup as far as the utility is concerned for Sentinels, but once more, you're going to get Dapper moving aggressively B-main and Tens with the operator. No problem with taking aggressive peek. Poised 1v1, still wants it, even though the sentry turret was there, plus the spam from Shazam. So an easy follow-up elimination. Supa's able to find not just one, but two. Impressive from his POV, you have to imagine. But Dapper does respond to the trade. We have a 3v2 situation. Shanks goes the knife and back over towards A, but not able to convert. And it's just now down to Derek, who was in the Aldrone flight, never able to really follow up on a trade.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, just maybe, if Shanks is able to get the dagger off there onto Zom's inside A site, they could break through, get a spike plant, maybe have a chance at battling back in that round. But when Shanks gets shut down, that pretty much seals the deal. Also, a big catch from Dapper to get that kill out in the middle to kind of make up for Superman's 2 sheriff frags to kind of, you know, make sure the numbers were typically always favoring Sentinels throughout that round. As now we'll see Rise bought back up, and once again, they're just going to kind of open up default here. They're looking to put pressure on both lobby areas at the same time. Just try to maybe threaten orb control and just try to, you know, get that nice, comfortable, slow opening.
Standing ahead.
Different setup, though, defensively for Dapper, moving all of his utility over towards Tree this time. So, again, this is one of the things that we kind of came to know from Sentinels when they were playing this map, is the flexibility to go back and forth between the sites is very fluid. And it's, again, going to force Rise to have to read this and respond. That's the big key. It's still Sentinels on the initiative, even though they're on the defensive side.
It also lets them stack A with more personnel and feel safe doing it when you have this much utility in place from Aster and Killjoy to stall, do damage, and kind of give them a foothold back into A site if they're going to need it later on. The only thing they don't know is what's going on at middle, and it's kind of forcing Sig to play a little bit more passively in defending spawn. Stars are now coming down low on market and back halls, but they don't know about Tins in the back.
Sam also misses the blade. Pardon me, the shock dart's coming through, trying to stay alive as Tens, working for spaces. He did find one of the operators. Quickly rotating over is going to be Sick, but even Shazam will fall. So now it is onto the shoulders of Sick. He's been revealed. Neptune wants the fight. Has help from Derek, but Sick changes the angle and lines them both up. Unreal. Supa not able to find anything versus Psalms, and initially with Shazam kind of missing the shock dart, you thought maybe a chance for Rise to get in, but Sentinel still just bend but not break.
Yeah, it's just not detecting Tins playing that position under market. I mean, just the drone doesn't check that direction, so he's able to get his kill, no problem. And then this right here, you gotta let Sick do this to you. You know he's there. You've got to figure out a more efficient way of that approach. Maybe if you trade 1-for-1, things are still okay, but with allowing Sick to double up like that, as well as Tins getting a freebie, again, it's just like little details that are being overlooked that are haunting Rise in some of these rounds.
Oh, Sick is going to take over mid-map. 0 point able to allow him forward. Does get information that Poised was nearby. Dapper's also pushing through B main. So all of a sudden, you forced Rise to have to commit to A, which they're happy to do. I mean, they're already here, but Sick is taking care of the back. That'll allow him a chance now to flank. The spike does get planted, so Rise, you need to respond. And honestly speaking, if you can get this weapon from Sick, maybe there is a chance to still hold the post-plant situation. But it is if you can find the kill on the Sick, and there it is. Neptune also in the same breath able to find one on a Dapper. So the numbers are looking 3v3, and it's actually Sentinels that has to respond forward as the Hunter's Fury comes to delay the retake.
Yeah, it's a big kill from Neptune as well, up tree position.
One
So,
enemy
the
remaining.
favorable situation for Sentinels is now being whittled away by Rise, who are playing very intelligently in this small number situation. They're able to now entrench with the 3-on-1. It's only Tens. He's able to pick up a Phantom here. He's got some health to play with, but he doesn't have the time and not even able to find the exit. And honestly, man, I cannot believe Sentinels fumbled the ball there. They had the superior firepower. They had the deep flanks. They had the initial kill onto Poise, so they had a quick 5-on-4 spot going down at A. They had such great positioning. It was just kind of weird to see basically Sick just peek into A lobby, not using any utility to do so, and then also just dying to that push by Neptune at tree position. Like, just a couple little thorns in Sentinel's side. That was very uncharacteristic of them, but also props to Rise for being crafty and finding a way to the finish line to keep this game close.
Yeah, credit where credit is due for sure. That's a really good read from Rise, knowing that, hey, we've got nothing over the middle that we can do, nothing towards B. Let's just full commit into A. They do get themselves set up, and they do take advantage of the weapons, and Rise now looking to stay aggressive. Gravity Well will allow a chance to find Sick, and then Tens maybe a bit of an over-aggressive challenge gets punished by Shanks. So now a 5-on-3 early for Rise's offense as they attack A.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if this round and what we saw last round is going to finally force Sentinels to kind of sit back and respect Rise. Yeah, you had your way with them on Breeze, and yeah, you had a couple of good opening gun rounds in this map, but now they're getting a little bit careless in some of these rounds, you feel like. Like, you know, that secondary peak from Tens, yes, he's an incredible player, perhaps the best in the world, but when you have a high-low waiting for you to make that play, you're likely going to get traded, you know, best case scenario. So I feel like I wouldn't say Sentinels will come off the gas pedal yet, but it's just been a couple of rounds that got a little bit careless. And then Rise, again, we talked about this already, they are still a very capable team, they're very tactically sound, and so they're going to be prepared to punish little things like that. They're going to have the protocols in place to be prepared to seize those opportunities. And you can see it there, just able to get those initial picks pretty early on, follow it up nicely, and they're able to keep themselves out ahead.
Good stuff from Rise here in the last couple of rounds. I think it is a little bit of them penalizing Sentinels for maybe getting a little bit too aggressive, but we'll see how things kind of adapt and fare. Sentinels still trying to keep the aggression on. Things may have to change here as you do have just a Spectre and a Bulldog into 2 of your 5 members' hands. 10 still does have the Operator, though, so that investment still one that needs to be calculated and assessed from Rise's POV as far as what they want to do to try to mitigate it. And how about 10? Speaking of, still staying aggressive. He's already taken away all of B main.
Yeah, that's big because it allows more flexibility for them to stack this A side of the map. They're going to be able to owl drone out middle to make sure that no deep mid control is being taken right now by Rise. They even spot Derek. They're at the top of middle. So they're getting a little bit of intel here. As we were seeing that Rise was trying to play that more shallow smoke and use that to threaten tree position. Problem is that there's a lot of Killjoy and Asher utility ready for that very type of play. And you can see Rise are sitting back anticipating Sentinels to get aggressive here, which why the heck not? Sentinels have certainly shown that, you know, track record throughout this series. And so it's understandable that you'd see Rise be a little bit cautious, but now they're going to have to start committing here. Looks like they are already setting up for an A set piece, but again, there's already 3 defenders in place and a lot of utility to battle through.
And keep in mind, you still have the ability for the Fragment to come out from Sick or the Nullify. He's actually going to commit to getting on towards site. Defending Lockdown will come out. Rise will have to back away. This is going to put a lot of pressure on them timing-wise. There's only 35 seconds on the clock.
Yep. They have to hope that Shanks is able to get this penetrating flank through defending spawn to help re-unlock A. Now they have their own lockdown they can place now in the late round as well. So that's going to help them get some space on site, and then it's going to come down to Shanks.
Headshot.
Oh, Shanks does find one on the cross, looking for a second. That'd be big. Wants to chase down Sick, who will run away over towards the safety of where the Killjoy was positioned with all the utility. Dapper's going to be tested, and Boys will find the next elimination. But Zombs firing back. 6 seconds on the clock. Spike will be planted, no problem. But it's a 4v3. And with this Cosmic Divide down, it's really on the Sentinels to make the next move. And all 3 members stacked up towards heaven. 0 point will come out. You also have the ability potentially try to fight this back from Rise, as you did see a counter recon bolt be placed. But now it's up to Sentinels. Have to get on, have to test it. Superman in the corner. Flash will come through. Superman able to find one isolated. Also gets to read that everybody is up top here. And oh boy, it doesn't look like Sentinels are really going to have a chance with this. Already backing away from the fight is Sick.
Yeah, this is one of the main confident wins we've seen out of Rise in this series. I'm not trying to short them, but this round really was truly theirs. It wasn't Sentinels making a mistake or anything like that. They fought hard for that round. They earned every single inch of it. Being able to play out the timing so perfectly that round shift, being able to, you know, force the lockdown out of Sentinels to reinforce that A site, leaving themselves enough time thereafter to plant their own lockdown to secure site for themselves, as well as have Shanks finding a great timing with that deep middle push to cut off the initial rotation and cause such a disturbance in the back line of Sentinels. That was such a well-designed round, and that is more the Rise I am used to seeing throughout Stage 3. A team that can throw these feints, throw these, fakes, and just, really calculate their utility usage to a T to make sure they get the most out of it. And that was a really well-designed round, and they deserve the lead.
You kind of feel like that 1v1 for Shanks on the cross may have just determined the entire outcome in the first place as well, because you don't find that kill, all of a sudden Sentinels can maybe fights back still, even though there was still that offensive lockdown place. But regardless of that point, we get into round number 10. Rise currently up 5-4, and they will have the ability to bring an operator to the table of their own. But as we saw Sick escape, he did find one elimination and then drops the op back for 10. So still ability for double snipers to be in play.
Also have the null command available here on Sick as well, to maybe shut down an attack or set up a retake. Neptune is going to get darted here. Sick was trying to maybe take advantage. He doesn't want to overcommit, though. He knows that he could still get hit by B-Link or top middle. He's able to get the kill, but yeah, there is Derek right there on the link to get the trade. So that's going to favor Rise a bit because they get a 4-on-4 and they start getting some deeper access over towards tree position. Also, while maintaining presence at middle, going to send the owl drone forward as well to kind of get some intel and threaten maybe an even deeper middle push, all the while bringing the spike around over towards A lobby to go ahead and go for that set piece. They'll just have to try to battle through the Astra utility. All right. Do see a rotation from Dapper, though, so there could be a decent defense in place here by the time they get in the site.
And with Neptune down, Shanks has to pull out the blades. He's the only initiative power that is actually here for Rise, and Zom's able to find one. Not bad. The trade Shazam playing from the corner, able to take down the final two. Just down now to Derek 1v3. Not a lot of time to make this play happen, and a lot of ground that needs to be traversed. And yeah, it does seem like Sentinels had a pretty good idea on where Derek previously was and where he probably was coming back from. So yeah, honestly speaking, the 1-for-1 trade, you hate to lose Sick because of the nullify that he has, but to take down Neptune, that's all of the engaging power that Rise have if they want to execute. Yeah. There's no flashes left.
Yeah, that is very true. Like a very key piece did go off the table there. It did force the daggers out of Shanks and around where he may not have wanted to have to use them. And so much credit has to be given to Zoms for buying the time that he did, getting the one kill he needed to help slow down that attack and allow for Shazam to find an opportunity through switch position and get that double kill. And so that's going to tie things right back up here. Full buy for both teams. Ult advantage, though, certainly does rest with Rise. They have 3-0. All right, other way around.
0 point from Sick, just to allow Tens a chance to get this angle. First peek. Sees one back away. My goodness. Shazam also over across the middle of the map, trying to get the Hunter's Fury to play, but Neptune finds the trade. Rise still not going to commit here to A. A lot of time to play with, and they're happy to take the 4v4 from here on out as the nullify was spent from Sick to try to make sure the Sentinels could rotate if they needed to.
Yeah, this kind of slows everything down for a second here, but as you said, the 4-on-4 usually going to favor the attacking side. It forces the defense to take a little bit more risk. Stack a little bit more, over-rotate a bit more, bite down on pressure. And they are putting a lot of trust, of course, in Dapper. Just kind of anchored this B side so they can kind of reinforce A, which is the right choice, fortunately for them, as it does look like that's indeed what they're going to be looking for. I think the interesting thing will be what Derek is able to do with this mid-lurk. Yeah. And how that's going to impact, maybe cutting off Dapper's rotation or getting in the back lines, creating pressure, and making it a little bit easier for A to be taken by his teammates. I say just back off all the way.
30 seconds left.
Yeah. They have no info on B lobby, so this is going to be hard with such little time left.
25 seconds and 0 point. Did find information on the 2. Seekers coming out. Sentinels, they already have defensive members here. They can just keep trusting the fact that Dapper can hold B by themselves. But Derek's working through mid-map. The sentry turret has seen this. 12 seconds on the clock. Is there even enough time to allow this fight to get into the site? Dapper just needs to find the one kill, and the round's just going to be over. And there it is, this running forward. Points have to sprint for it. Dapper with the kill. There's not enough time to play. You've got to win this off the kills themselves. But a flash comes out. Dapper finds the second. And, I'm not going to lie, a lot of that round is just kind of nullified by the fact that Sick gets a late 0 point, reads the play, and Rise back away.
Yeah, that's part of it, and I think that it was just Rise needed to do that maybe 5 seconds sooner than they did. I think that this was actually a pretty well-designed fake when it's all said and done. Like, they get the Cosmic Divide down, they're able to put the pressure with the Seekers. Like, they're definitely forcing Sentinels to bite on that, respect it, and really put the pressure on Dapper to solo hold B. But when, Derek gets caught out in the middle, essentially, and he has to take down the turret from outside market, and then with there just being such little time left, it comes down to 1-1v1 at that point to win or lose the round. Again, I think if they would have ran that play just a few seconds earlier, it could have been a different story.
This will look familiar, though. Sick gets freed up mid-map. Ten's there to make sure he can get there, but there will be no flank this time. Rye's gonna have to fully commit to getting over towards A. They should be pretty aware that they have lost mid-map. Aldrin coming through late. How much information will this see? Sir seems like a bunch. Gravity well will be spent. Shanks, though, able to push forward. Rarick able to find first blood. Also Sick detained. Another player is also there detained as well. So Rise will have full vacancy to get onto A and hopefully get a plant down sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, they get a really strong 5-on-4 post plant now thanks to the lockdown, as well as 2 players being detained along the way. Also, just a big tick on the bombs early on, and yeah, they're just locking this one up, it seems.
One enemy
Very
remaining.
positive for them. Sick can't do too much. Last player left alive is Dapper. The 1v5 finds the first. Not necessarily as clean as you're probably going to need. Shock Dart will not finish the job. Superman's going to get there first, and a 6-6 half. And what a chess game it was here, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, you could say a couple of Rise's wins came down to Sentinels maybe being a little bit over-eagle and over-aggressive, but there was like 2 or 3 rounds there where Rise really well-designed some nice like feints and set pieces to get themselves some success. And you know, that round, for instance, was really well-designed. They got a very good entry on the Zombs to kind of ensure the round. And even the previous round they lost, it was just because they were a little too late. It was still a good thought. They just didn't execute it fast enough. So definitely looking a lot more comfortable here on a Sent as compared to Breeze, and definitely look like a more worthy challenger for Sentinel. So we'll see if it keeps up or not, but not before a short break.
everybody, to the VCT NA Regional Finals. We're in a 6-6 deadlock here after the first half on Ascent. My whole shift with me is Dust, and the chess game has been three-dimensional, to say the least, between both of these squads. Decent setups from Sentinels, but realistically, great responses from Rise.
Yeah, if you want multi-dimensional chess, Finesse is actually over on the B stream. You can go catch them out there. Envy taking on TSM. I think Envy took the first map. They're on map 2 now. Now playing Breeze, and looks like I think a lead actually is going to be there for TSM. So just to give you a little bit of an update on that, as we are running 2 streams for these first couple of days. But yeah, over here we are going to be having Sentinels taking on Rise, and Sentinels obviously battered Rise on the first map of Breeze.
Yeah.
You know, very one-sided game. But this has been a very different story, right? 6-6 half. Saw some great things out of Rise on their attacking side there on Ascent. Definitely look like they're finding a little bit of a groove now, and now we have to kind of see how the rest of it plays out.
And defensively speaking, with this Rise team, we kind of know what to expect. You know, they do kind of have these set protocols in place, kind of like we heard from that Sentinels hype video. Like, people say we just kind of run it, people. It's not the case. There are some pretty preset things in mind as far as what we need to check before we can do X, Y, or Z. And the same thing does exist for Rise. Defensively, they have been pretty darn good when it comes to Ascent overall. But the thing is, this Sentinels team, like we continue to mention, they used to live on this map when it comes down to what was done a year ago, or maybe even a little bit more than that during the Ignition Series era. So yeah, sure, they haven't played it extensively in the last couple of months, but the familiarity as far as what kind of variability they want to bring to their offense should very much so still exist.
Yeah, I mean, their first 9 games with 10s on board, they won 8 of those 9 games, and they were beating some pretty solid teams like FaZe, like Immortals, like 100 Thieves, like Luminosity. You know, only had a couple big losses here and there along the way. Generally speaking, though, Ascent has been strong for them, even if they haven't played it that much recently. And I will say this, though, their defensive side definitely was usually their better side. Like a little over 60% win rate on the defense. Attacking side was a little bit more closer to 55%. Although I will say their last few games, they've had some pretty good attacking sides against XSET, Energy, and Immortals. So generally speaking, they're usually able to do pretty well on both sides of the map. And so with it being tied up, I think it's still going to be anyone's game at this point, because I really feel when you look at Rise and you look at the fact that they've lost their last 3 out of 4 games on Ascent, you know, a lot of that was because their defenses faltered.
Yeah.
Right? You know, they weren't able to do a whole lot defensively in most of their recent games, right? They kind of got blasted by Luminosity and XSET back in, you know, early on in July, for instance. So that's going to be the real test for them, is can they pick that back up?
And, you know, the 6 rounds offensively is good, to be sure, like you mentioned. But yeah, it's one of the things that, because this has been kind of one of the preset map picks when Split is not available for Rise, they usually always start on the offensive side. So yeah, I think the point is really strong about what can they do here defensively, because not only has their defensive half not necessarily been as great, but you're going to have to find a way to do it versus a very good Sentinels team. So yeah, I think you framed that up very, very nicely. And as we jump back into the mix, we will be going into the pistol here in the second half. And I'll be really curious as to see, I think, mostly what does Poised want to do as far as his setup. And we're going to get our answer. A lot of the utilities stacked in and around A.
Yep, that is going to be the case. Astra Star is going to be there as well. So definitely very firmly prepared for a barrage on that A site, which does seem to be what Sentinels are looking for here. I mean, all of their players are here. There's no Killjoy playing outside B, which can kind of be a trend, particularly on defaults. They're looking to really drone out into A lobby and maybe just try to pack a huge wallop early.
Yeah. Again, this is a first look for us when it comes to Sentinels using this KO for Sick. The 0 point comes out, Owl Drone to follow. Nebulas have been placed. Flash will come out. Sick's going to use that to not just move forward, but also allow Tens a chance. But the Nova Pulse able to get used. Poise finds one. Wants to find more than that. Going to use the turret as a little bit of assistance, but Zombs denies and penalizes a second. So Spike looking to get planted. Shanks is quick to try to rotate over, but there is a door in his way. And oh my goodness, Derek, a little floater comes over the top. Able to find one. Shanks now able to use this door position for a second. Dapper caught underneath, but is that actually okay for him? Able to find at least a chance to get one. Shazam able to find the elimination, but stuck backside arches, and Rise off of the shock dart don't allow the plant to come through.
No, Sentinels were looking pretty good early on. It's a great pop flash through the smoke. It's a great dash in from Tens. They're getting some space. They're trading out thanks to Zombs getting to pick on the rafters, and you're starting to like Sentinels' chances to get a spike plant and get things going. But this shock dart from Derek was so clutch. And not only that, but in the end, him double facing with his teammate against Shazam in B lobby and just never allowing 1v1s to Sentinels from this point forward. I mean, this is so tough on Shazam at that point to try to come up with something when he's being faced like that. Really brilliantly handled around there from Rise. Definitely could tell if they had their protocols in place to retake them.
And, you know, this just speaks to Derek. We haven't really had a lot of time to kind of talk to Tail about what this Rise team has gone through with kind of the revolving door of roster changes through the first and second stages. But Derek being brought into this team has really kind of cemented and been the glue to hold this squad together. He's been great. And now look at this. Sentinels looking to get aggressive over through tree. Again, a lot of utility dispersed on the site. 0 point will come through. Poise going to be tested here, but does have a lot of really kind of conditions in place to keep him alive. But will be sick for a trade. Superman able to try to keep the play alive defensively. Able to find one and a second. Should know that Zomz is nearby and not going to be required to find the kill as Shanks was there for the assist.
Yeah, really good job there by Superman. He's been probably the most consistent performer on Rise throughout the last few months. You know, coming in, obviously they made the swap, Calypso and Showtime being dropped to bring in players like Superman and like Derek. And Superman has been one of their top performers throughout most of their series throughout this stage, and very crafty plays there with the Spectre around the smoke in the center of the site to double up and really kind of alleviate any pressure that Sentinels were putting on with their initial take on the site. Shanks will finish things off there with the Ares until they will go up 8-6. They're now going to be onto their bonus round, but Sentinels should be able to full buy here. That's where things will get more interesting, as we're starting to see Rise able to go toe-to-toe right now. Sentinels as far as fragging, as far as comfortability, and just overall map fluency. So this is where I'll be interested to see what happens, as it is going to be the op coming out for Shanks, but no op in play for Sentinels.
Yeah, that's really the big heavy-hitting defensive tool available. And Rise will actually maneuver poised over towards B to try to help out for what they feel very well may be an aggressive hit. And take a look, watch for the early pick here. Shanks is looking to get aggressive over the middle. And Nebula will make sure he doesn't actually get an angle. Sentinel's looking to aggress through the middle of the map with this Zal drone, and it's going to be Neptune who's going to be here first with a little bit of assistance from Poise. Need to find at least one here.
And they didn't even spot Neptune. That's a greatly timed flash for him to peek off of as well. Does catch Zomz, and he's got help right there next to him as they continue to put the pressure here through Market. Neptune doubles up. How does he find that third? Maybe this is the last bullets on the magazine to discover that one.
And now the Trailblazers are coming back as they read this play 100% correctly. The spike has been dropped mid-match. Got Shanks watching across. Sentinels have to commit to playing through B main, and there's really no ground to work with whatsoever. And Shanks makes sure there is also no exit. Wonderfully done, and a lot of credit to Neptune for the double flash, but also just a little cheeky Trailblazer to make sure he checks B main as well. That's a beautiful display of how to play Sky.
Yeah. Absolutely. Him able basically dodging the Owl drone thanks to his teammate shooting it down. He's able to perfectly time those flashes for safe peeks into middle, denies market access. And I would love to see that third kill again, because the first couple, just basically made sense off the flash timing. That third he was able to fit in was absolutely ludicrous. I mean, that really put the icing on the cake of that one, and now it's going to be Sentinels back into a low buy.
Looking to make sure they can establish some pressure through B main. A couple of the star placements are here to try to keep Rise safe defensively, and still Poised is also a part of this defensive stronghold over towards B. Neptune again, looking for a counter flash, maybe looking to time this with Derek. There's the peak, does see sick, but backs away. And really nothing gained, nothing lost from either team on the early point of contact.
Tense gets caught though, trying to make that push up middle. Thanks to Derek, who's looking to see if he's got anyone else there with him. Just getting that extra bit of information. Holding pattern still just kind of being held all across the map here by Rise. No real need to jump too much. Tends to continue to try to apply that pressure to middle, maybe try to get some market access and maybe try to help switch inside. Obviously, an alarm bot, though, will be there. He is able to shoot it down, but now they know that market is a threat. How does Rise respond?
Neptune maybe misses the opportunity. Derek also could not keep a Poise, playing from the opposite angle to find one. Knows that there's more established pressure coming through B main, and maybe even gets caught up. The Tense doesn't actually read the play correctly, so now Poise gets involved, but Shazam! He's found 3 with the Sheriff! This would be an ace and a 1v2, and he's got an AR to work with. This is definitely doable. Also has the spike in hand, wants to try to bail out the sound cue, but Super beats him to the punch on the angle. And my goodness, Sentinels give that a really tough go there, for considering the fact it was just the pistol upgrade for just Shazam in the mix.
Yeah, and they already kind of showed you a little bit of what they're going to be capable of with that KO. He provides something that even Phoenixes would kind of do in the past, where you can use his fragment to cover that back stairwell. So you're smoking off market, you're smoking off defensive spawn lane, and then you can get that fragment, so that really the only way that the players can defend is either playing through the smokes or just playing on site itself. And it allows you to kind of sweep through and get that, extra ramp angle onto B for yourself. So I'll be curious to see if that comes into play in a later gun round, as we see a little bit more of a default opening this time.
Shanks looking to get aggressive mid-map.
Obscuring vision.
Got a look at Tens, but it was nothing but that, just a look. Trailblazer defensively going to clear out B main, and with that, Shanks is actually going to very quickly rotate to get an aggressive angle, launching that early point of ingress, but Sentinel's not interested in B. Already stacking up towards tree. Poise is going to be the first one a part of this. Has a lot of utility here. Not committed to using any, but yeah, actually a lot of it getting deleted, and he's going to back away.
Indeed he is. Has to break the window as well, so that's going to give, you know, Sentinels a silent way to approach Heaven the back way if they so choose. Seekers is going to come through to try to get some defensive room back over at Tree. Boy still anchoring here behind the generator, trying to handle all the utility being lobbed its way, and he does it great. Gets a couple of big kills.
You can knife me out if you want. Does not make a difference. Poised for 3. And you can kind of see it there for a moment. We swapped his POV. He's just hugging the spike site, waiting for an opportunity to get a delayed peek, and boy, did it pan out in a beautiful way for him.
Yeah, I mean, Sentinels were making some good ground there initially, but then they just kind of get held up by that last little nano swarm that was by switch position. Try to jump into the jet smoke and get the generator that way, avoiding the use of the stairwell, but that's where Poise is ready to collect the back of generator. So just really good use of utility there from Rise. Really well-positioned players to play off of one another, and Superman and Poise going to get the job done there. The brothers coming up big.
How about Poise just getting out of that position from Tree in the first place after the threat was coming through? That very well may have been the difference maker to allow him a chance to still hold defensively and get that utility into play. But Sentinels empty so far on the offense through our first 5 rounds here. And back to pistols.
And my fault. It's actually Poise and Shanks who are brothers, so I got that one a little wrong. Actually, really wrong. I can't save myself there. I did. At least I corrected myself.
That's true.
As we are on the all sheriffs. Sentinels here. Trying to just see if they can't find a nice little pick and try to get something created. Not a whole lot to go behind it as they're just trying to walk forward. Shock dart, but Superman still able to get the kill.
Now Neptune playing in the middle of Gravity Well, actually. Not able to find too much, but does create opportunity for his teammates. Poised for 2. Still staying hot here on this defensive side is Poised. Dapper, last one left alive. 1v4 would be what he's required to find here. Shoulders from Shanks, the secondary peek from Derek. No problem. Clean stuff here for Rise as you would normally expect defensively, but a lot of that was just simply the fact that Sentinels committed into the teeth of the defensive Rise, really.
This is great from Rise. They're now 1 away from taking a Sent and forcing us onto a third map of Bond. This would have been snapping a bit of a losing streak they've kind of been having lately on this map. Again, they've lost the last 3 out of 4. They've been actually bulldozed in many of those losses, not even getting double digits. So they were coming into this looking like they were in a little bit of poor shape on Ascent in their most recent games, but as we noted, there was a little bit of a layoff for Sentinels, having only played this map once in the last few months. And we've seen what we wanted to see out of Rise, right? We've seen their craftiness, their ability to play as a team, something that we did not get to see at all on Breeze.
And beyond that, I was just about to say, we have not really been able to talk much about Sick on this KO. It really feels like his impact has been marginalized, but the same wave. He comes through, finds first blood to make me look absolutely ridiculous. Still Neptune, maybe thinking about trying to poke through this Nebula. Dapper is holding this position and actually does catch Poise. So the elimination comes through. Sentinels looking prime for an offensive round, even Tens. Finding Neptune just before the door shuts on the play. So Shanks maybe, hopefully, for 1, but that will be all he will commit to. Tens wants to take the double updraft peek, but not able to find the kill. So it's just up to Derek to see maybe if he can find an exit. I largely feel like he's probably just going to spam and then very likely to back away.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're very quickly seeing that playing this KO on 6 still allows Sentinels to play at the same pace you'd expect from a double duelist composition, where you're still able to be very fast, very explosive, very decisive. Using those self-hot flashes, getting that extra bit of intel with the dagger, and then using that to just kind of push in together with Tens and look to take fights and just win them with, that high-class aim we're used to seeing out of them. They're a team that, they talked about in that video, like, if people just think that we hold W. It is one of those things where, well, they do. They are a very explosive team, as you see there, but they do it with good utility layering. Like, there's a support system behind those fast-paced attacks, and that's what you're seeing there. And I think the big difference maker here was we've seen them often get this tree position. It's that they haven't been able to penetrate deeper than that. They've been caught up by some of the setups on the site defensively, and they can never really get full control. This round, they are able to. They're able to break through the door. They're able to get in there, get picks, and finally lock in a round.
It's actually pretty massive as well for Tens to just get value out of taking away the operator and the Odin. Sure, it's going to be repurchased, but that is not a light buy by any stretch of the imagination. So cleaning up those last two will actually put a little bit of a hamper on how steep the economy advantage is for Rise here defensively. Derek very early going into the Hunter's Fury, able to convert onto Shazam. Beautifully found. And even beyond that, you did have Shanks kind of try to make a play through mid-map, but not going to be required to find anything as the first blood's already confirmed.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Aldron's going to come out middle as well now defensively and might even be able to figure out Zom's position. Attacking lockdown comes into play. Neptune, though, just trying to play through it. Turret, though, will probably give his position away. Has to kind of divert back over to Tree Room, but able to get there safely. Man gets flushed out, but he's able to kind of play in the middle of all this utility and still stand firm on the site.
Yeah, this is not bad at all. He's actually got a little bit of help as Shanks will rotate up to the top. Neptune shakes off the detainment and finds an opportunity to take down two. Not done yet. Dapper's still part of this play. He's able to find one in response, but every single bit of this hit from Sentinels has been squandered, and a lot of it is just the fact that Rise survived through the early utility play from Sentinels.
Oh boy.
Oh.
You can see Dapper was hoping for a bit